Hi, everybody. Saturday, December 28th. I take Romeo in on Tuesday morning on the 31st to be all checked out and get his clean bill of health after his surgeries and stuff. But he has not shown any sign of ever having had anything done. He's just been in a good mood ever since he was put under over at the vet. And it's amazing. He's just got that kind of a tenacity, and he's just such a sweet dog. He's unbelievable. He's probably one of the most wonderful bassets I've ever had. And I think he's the 11th or 12th. They've all been fabulous, but there's something really unique about this little squirt. And so I'm gonna just do a little music. I could not sleep last night. I went to sleep about 1 and was up at 4:45, just kind of wide awake. So I started doing some things that I could do, in the house, not in the dark outside. But I got up and took the boys out. They kind of looked at me like, what the hell's going on? But then we went outside and he pooped and peed, and the other guys just peed, and then brought them back in the den, and they sacked out again and passed out. But I'm going to go ahead, just do a little bit of music. There was one thing I was looking up, and I found records of it, but I cannot find the performance. And because I was thinking about this because of Richard Perry's passing. And it was when Pachelbel's Canon became kind of like the yuppie anthem when the movie Ordinary People came out, and Marvin Hamlish did the score to it, and Pachelbel's Canon was like the theme for the movie. And we went in the studio with Marvin Hamlish and Brooks Arthur and Richard Perry, because they had orchestrally recorded the song and they wanted it to sound maybe a little more radio friendly, and they brought Jeff Porcaro and myself in to add a little rhythm section to it. And I found it in discography, whatever the hell that's called. But I went all through YouTube and could not find that performance. That was the single. I only find the ones from the movie. So I was digging around and I found something else that I worked on that I talked a bit about this some long time ago, and I thought I'd revisit and play a couple of tracks from it. One of my favorite singers always was Dionne Warwick, and the work that she did back when I was like in the 60s, when we were just like going to playing at dances and stuff, and they would be playing songs, and you'd suddenly just hear this voice, and you'd hear like her doing Burt Bacharach and Hal David songs. It was just like it was a match made in heaven. Walk On By is still one of the greatest records. So we did an album. I worked on an album of hers in 1981 called Hot, Live and Otherwise, Dionne Warwick. And I'll read you a little bit about what this one was all about. It says, Hot, Live and Otherwise is a combination live and in-studio album by American singer Dionne Warwick, released in 1981 on Arista Records. The live portion of the albums was recorded over several dates at Harrah's Casino in Reno, Nevada in the spring of 1981. The original 2LP release featured 3 sides of live recordings plus a 4th side of studio recordings, including the pop and AC hit Some Changes Are for Good and Now We're Starting Over Again, which later became an adult contemporary hit for Natalie Cole in 1989 under the shortened title Starting Over Again. I loved working with Natalie too. She was amazing. 3 of those studio recordings were produced by Michael Masser, and the other 2 were produced by Steve Buckingham. The album was reissued on CD in 2007 with new liner notes by David Nathan, a slightly amended track listing, missing the live track We Never Said Goodbye, and one of the studio tracks dedicated This Heart, and added 2 previously unissued studio bonus cuts, When the Good Times Come Again and Right Back. The former song was written by Richard Kerr and Will Jennings, the same writing team who provided Warwick with her gold-selling comeback hit I'll Never Love This Way Again in 1979. And I'm looking down here now, and I'm looking, at What You Won't Do for Love was one of the songs on here, and one of the writers on that was Allie Willis. And God, do I miss Allie. You know, when she passed, it was just so shocking. But let me give you a little credits on one of these. So let's see, we're not starting over again. Let me get some credits for you. Now we're starting over again is myself on bass, Rick Schlosser on drums, Lee Rittenauer and Tim May on guitar, Randy Goodrum on Fender Rhodes, Michael Masser on piano, and vocals by Dionne Warwick. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting on this because I hear it, because Michael Masser, when he was doing songs, because I did Diana Ross with him, all kinds of stuff. The theme from Mahogany Michael was producing that. So let me get this here, and I think there's a little bit more. The writing credit on this one is Michael Masser and Jerry Goffin. Carole King and Jerry Goffin were the great songwriting team. Jerry was Carol's ex-husband. And so let's go ahead. This is called Now We're Starting Over Again, Dionne Warwick. It's very Diana Ross, Whitney Houston, who Michael also worked with.
We were just too young before, too selfish and too insecure. We were just too proud to bend. No wonder that it had to end. But we're a little wiser now. The time we lost has helped somehow. Now that we see where we went wrong, our love has become a love that's twice as strong. And now we're starting over again. It's not the easiest thing to do. I'm feeling inside again, 'cause every time I look at you, I know we're starting over again. This time we'll love all the pain away. Welcome home, my lover and friend. We are starting over again. You can see the tears in my eyes. A second chance is such a surprise. Please don't think I'm feeling sad. I'm getting back the love I had. If we never lived alone, then we might have never known all of the time we spent apart. All we did was break each other's hearts. And now we're starting over again. It's not the easiest thing to do. I'm feeling inside again, 'cause every time I look at you, I know we're starting over again. This time we'll love all the pain away. Welcome home, my lover and friend. We are starting over again. We're starting over again. It's not the easiest thing to do. I'm feeling inside again, but every time I look at you, I know we're starting over again. This time we'll love all the pain away. Welcome home, my lover and friend. We are starting over again. We're starting
And the strings on that were arranged by the great Gene Page. I've talked about Gene in the past too. I mean, he was just one of those guys. I mean, he was working constantly. He'd come blowing into sessions, and his charts all smell like kind of ammonia, like cat urine, because he was like writing them in the car coming to the session. He was just an amazing, amazing character. And there were times, I've talked about it in the past too, he had a stopwatch when he would start conducting a song, and he'd sit there and he'd go, first off, he'd tap, he'd get out his pencil and he'd tap his music stand and he'd go, orchestra, orchestra. And we're all looking around. It's like 4 of us in the room. We're just doing a rhythm date. We go, who's he seeing? What's going on over here? But he would get his clock and his stopwatch and he'd go, okay, 1, 2, no. 1, no. And we'd just be sitting there going, count the song off, Gene. Come on. I mean, he was just the funniest guy. I loved working with him. Let's see what else we got here. There's a long road ahead of us. It's way written real small. Let me get some credits. Okay, once again, similar lineup here. Myself on bass, Rick Schlosser on drums. Rick Schlosser had a period where he was with James Taylor, wonderful, wonderful drummer who moved to Mexico, I believe, many years ago, and he's been living down there, but great drummer to play with. Lee Ritenour and Tim May on guitar, Randy Goodrum on Fender Rhodes, and Michael Masser on piano, and Dionne Warwick on vocals. Let me see if there's any extra info here. Another Michael Masser, Jerry Goffin song here. So let's go ahead and check this one out. There's a long road ahead of us.
But there's a beautiful side of life that you've been blind to. And in case you didn't know, let me remind you, there's a long road ahead of us, such a long road ahead of us, and the world is ours if you will only trust. If you and me, love never stays the same. Don't let it get you down. Old dreams may fade away, but new ones stand around. You're just too young to be living on a memory. And where I'm coming from, the best is yet to come. Oh, there's a long road ahead of us, such a long road ahead of us, and the world is ours if you will only trust in you and me.
Or Gene Page.
Now I'm not saying there won't be stormy times to weather, but we can rise above it all together. 'Cause today is just the first day of forever. There's a long road ahead of us, such a long road ahead of us, and the world is ours if you will only trust in you and me. There's a long
There's just such a purity in her voice. Just so good. It's funny, all the songs I ever did with Michael, there's lots of modulations. It just settles, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're off in another one, then another one. It's a trip. And he sadly is no longer with us. That's really kind of the hard part sometimes. It's just going through all these songs and realizing how many people I've worked with over the years that are gone now. And then it gets scary when you look, and a lot of them were younger than me. So you just kind of want to embrace every day that you can, enjoy. So that's it. I'm just a little shorter one today, but it was really always a thrill. I got to do a couple of live shows where Dionne sang, and just one of those voices. Kind of, I remember being in Japan doing this. I've talked about it in the past. This producer series with David Foster, and one of the singers on that was Celine Dion. And you're sitting there, 2 feet away from her, and she starts hitting some notes, and you go, holy crap, And those kind of singers, they're amazing. When I'd be in the studio with Streisand or any of them, and you just go, wow, this is singing. This is singing, because there's so many that come in and they're okay, but then the engineers pitch correcting and doing all this stuff to them. But then there's those that come in and their gig is to sing, and they do their gig well. So I'm going to get running, wishing everybody just a great weekend, and just all my best wishes always. So take care, and I'll talk to you later. Hitting that button right there to shut this up. Bye.